Morning.
Good morning. I'd like to call to order the Kane County Finance and Budget Committee meeting Wednesday, November 23rd. Can we have roll call, please?
Ford,
Present.
Leonard,
Leonard here.
Martin,
Martin present.
Sanchez,
Sanchez present.
Surges, Tepe,
Happy here.
Shepro, Pirog,
Here.
Berman.
Here.
You have quorum.
We have approval of the minutes.
Leonard so moves for unanimous consent.
We have unanimous consent. Very good. I know of no public comments. Treasurer's report, Mr. Kilborn. The last one.
Yes, sir. Good morning. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve King County residents and work alongside you and other electeds of the King County government over the last 20 months. I would like at this time to thank my hometown board members, Cliff, Jared, Chris, for helping me during the process and then throughout my 20-month term. The business of the treasurer's office is not conducted by the treasurer, but by employees of the treasurer's office. King County has a great team of employees in that office. I would specifically like at this time to thank and acknowledge Maria, Carolyn, and Cindy for directing and managing the processes and actions and the day in and day out actions within the treasurer's office. As I prepare to exit this office and King County, rest assured the business of the office will continue, conducted by employees of the treasurer's office and treasurer-elect Chris Lawson. Post-election, Chris has met with myself and key members of the office to prepare both him and the office for him on his first day and beyond. I have also met with Madam Chair and other county department heads to connect the treasurer's, directly connected the treasurer's office to prepare the government for the new county treasurer. Onto the business as to why I'm here. The federal funds rate did hike 75 basis points in early November, came in as expected. Post meeting, Chairman Powell signaled that the central bank could begin dialing back the pace of the increases as soon as December's meeting. Right now, reading the tea leaves or reading the different information that comes across, looking at now 50 basis points at the December meeting, which would be a change from the last 4 increases of 75 basis points. And post-meeting, other directors have come out and made similar comments of it's time to ratchet it down, but not completely. You don't want to do it too soon because then all the work you've done through this year won't take out the inflation you're trying to address. So the Fed's current projection is for a 50-point rate hike during their 2-day meeting in December, with some continued increases in 2023. Along with the Fed rate hike, the return of the investment accounts for King County has been increasing month to month from 124 basis points in June up to 207 basis points in October. As a point of reference, the rate of return and investment accounts in April 2021, when I was appointed, was 71 basis points. But as Vice Chair Ken Shipro noted at our last meeting, due to the vehicles we're allowed to invest in, the return earned by the treasurer's office is reflected more by market rates and what's available to us versus any investment action taken by the treasurer. I leave you with, as I always have, at least the direction of our office has been with Dave and through me. We invest with the mindset of safety first, followed by liquidity and then return. We want to make sure King County's money is there when you need it. Any questions?
Thank you much for your 20 month service.
Thank you.
Thank you. Finance Director's report, Mr. Honzik.
Good morning. My report will be very brief this morning. Switch to it. I do have a listing within my report of the various funds and the variances that are associated with it, of year-to-date actual expenses compared to the annual budget. And there's about 24 instances where we already see that a budget adjustment is needed for these various funds that have already exceeded their annual budget. And so most likely it'll be done as one budget adjustment that we'll be putting through like we normally do at the end of the year to make such adjustments. Looking at the contingency balance, it still remains unchanged from last month and is almost the entire $1 million that we started with. There's $935,000 still left in the account, and the $50,000 for adult prisoner room and board has not yet been used, but that may be one of the final year-end adjustments. We'll pull out a small amount from that figure. Operational reserve, so we still have the almost $5 million of property tax freeze protection fund this year. As far as COVID payroll reimbursement, it's at 16.4 million, and emergency reserve at 5.2 million. The capital expenditures, so for building management, only 33% of their budget had been expended this year. So at this point, there's about $4.3 million remaining, and whatever is unspent, of course, rolls over into the next year for whatever projects will be approved for next year. Information technology at this point is 89% expended, and the sheriff's portion is 93% expended. Let's see. Okay. Then probably the one most everyone would be the most interested in would be where we're stand at this point through the month of, oh, I see I have a typo there. It should be the month of October. Okay, but the figures are correct. So we, as far as what we've collected for the direct sales tax revenues, and local use tax, RTA sales tax, state income tax, personal property replacement tax, we're at $11.3 million more than what we had budgeted, and $7.7 million more than what we had collected year to date last year. So it's still continuing to trend the same positive direction as we've been seeing throughout the year. And as far as just a quick update on the budget, of course, it was adopted yesterday. And so we're in the process of putting the final pieces of the budget book together, and we'll have that ready to distribute as soon as possible. And lastly, for purchasing, I'll just leave you with the fiscal year-to-date cost savings is at almost $1.4 million. So that's it for my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Madam Chair?
Thank you. Joe, the sales tax as it goes up, it's based on the purchase cost of an item. So as the purchase costs continue to escalate, so does the amount of sales tax. So it's I'm just making an observation that it's very fluid, that we can count on additional sums right now, but as inflation ebbs and continues hopefully next year and the following year to decrease, so items become somewhat more affordable, so will the amount of sales tax revenue on each item will be reduced. Is that correct?
Well, I'm not an economist. It sounds logical to me what you just said. So yes, I would agree with your assessment.
So meaning that we shouldn't continue to count on that additional revenue as a stable source, that we should have realized going forward for our future budgets that we may want to reduce our expectations.
Well, we're very conservative in our expectations, so we're not building into anything an expectation that it's going to increase more than 2%. So we have taken where we were at, I believe, I can't remember the exact month, it was September, possibly October timeframe. And that was what the last update to the budget was. So we took where we were at year to date and then added 2% to that. So I think we've captured the large increase we've seen this year and then added an additional 10% for next year. So I think that's fairly conservative, and it still allows room for us to benefit from any increase that goes beyond that, which would then simply be help to offset what we're drawing out of the reserves.
No,
So-
agreed, agreed. But thank you.
Question, Shepro?
Mr. Shepro.
Yeah, as to that, there have been a certain number of sales tax holidays in the state. I think one is still in effect. Do we have any estimate as to what that has cost us, or what, when it's, the holiday is over, if it's over, is that a meaningful number?
Honestly, I can't tell you because there's like there's at least 2 months lag between when it starts. So I think we're just starting to see the impact of it. And just if I remember right, looking like from year to year, I don't see that it's not like a huge difference, but it is slightly lower. But we're so far ahead in terms of where we were at on a year-to-date basis. It's not going to impact us in a negative way for the year, but
And some items like food are taxed at such a low
Yeah,
rate that even
yes.
if the prices come down, I wouldn't think it's gonna be reflected in any staggering change in the numbers.
well, that's true. I'm just trying to think of how to express how I do this. I mean, because like I said, I'm not an economist, so I don't know exactly how to forecast things. And any forecasts I've seen, we end up being incorrect anyway. So we do the best we can. And the best way to do it, as far as how I put it together, is I look at what we've actually collected and then try to factor in any trend that we're seeing. And so at the time that this budget was put together, we had a good amount of data available already from current fiscal year to base next year's on. And so I think that's the most we can do. There's no, I don't know how else to do it. And it seems to have been pretty effective. And at least we're erring on the side of maybe not enough in the budget. But I don't know that. I'm just nervous about trying to be too specific for a
But
forecast.
to go really much beyond that, you would need to use Ouija boards and
Exactly. I try to base it on what we know and the impact of what we know. And it was too soon to know the impact of that sales tax holiday to factor that in.
Mr. Chairman, Bates, please.
Mr. Leonard.
Martin and me.
Excuse me, Mr.
Well, I just wanted to
Mark,
volunteer in the midst of this conversation that I think the impact of inflation or the lessening of inflation, should it occur, probably isn't going to be, it means that less money is going to be spent. I think it means that people are going to reprioritize and move that money to other categories. I think that the problem that inflation causes is that people have the same pot to utilize. And if they have to spend it on food, they're not spending it on, electronic devices. So I think that getting too deep in the weeds in the conversation isn't going to be productive, but I would guess that the sales tax could end up being a fairly constant thing. And if we're going to muse about the future, if groceries cost less money, for which we get very little sales tax, and they can spend the money but on more taxable items, we could benefit. So I think that we're kind of trying to figure out how to count how many angels can dance on the head of a pin if we have too deep a conversation on the sales tax anticipation.
Mr. Leonard.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to agree with what Madam Chair said about hopefully inflation going down, and that would have somewhat of a negative effect on our growth in sales tax and state income tax. However, both of those areas this year have gone up about 30%. So even if you take inflation at 7.7%, there's still about a 23% increase in actual sales tax revenue and state income tax revenue. So I think inflation does play a part in it. but it's not a major part in it.
I think just, I know we've got other questions, Ms. Bates, excuse me. I think part of that also is the cannabis, that we don't know how it's, we don't know that direct correlation of that number, what that number
Oh,
is.
And believe me, in no way am I criticizing how Mr. Ansick sets up the budget. I would rather underestimate and have a surplus without it than the other way around. So I'm very
Encourage.
happy with your
Encourage.
process, Joe, and I hope you continue in that route. But I do think inflation did have an effect on this the last 2 years, but it's only been a percentage of the effect. And that's the point I want to make. When they go up 30% each and inflation's at 7.7, you can kind of figure out the numbers.
Mr. Chair, Surges.
I'm on stack.
Well, not to unduly prolong the wandering around in the weeds. I mean, inflation is kind of a personal arbitrage situation, right? I mean, we could say, wow, because prices are going up, we're getting more revenue, but we're also spending more because the things we're buying are going up. And I would guess that is a fool's errand to try to take all of that and come up with some net figure. But that's not really a question, but if Mr. Ansick wanted to comment on that,
Mr. Surges.
yeah.
Oh, I was just wondering about the angels dancing on the head of the pin. If John could put that in a book for us before he leaves. I don't know where he comes up with this stuff, but by golly, I love it. So
Cliff, that's been a debate for about 1,000 years.
there you go.
Scholastics.
I think it's great.
Theologians.
It's great.
Thank
We've
you.
got so many economic majors in the group. Everybody's got their own ideas, so
That's economists.
just like the economists.
Bates, please.
Yes,
Okay, my 2.5 cents worth is, inflation, has raised the sales tax. If there's hardly ever deflation in my memory, deflation really, I can't remember. I mean, maybe food prices might go up and down, but usually inflation just keeps going up. So I don't think the sales tax will drop in the future if inflation drops, but the change in the amount of sales tax that we receive will change. So if inflation stops, inflation raises all boats, prices and sales tax. So anyway, I think that's our sales tax probably won't go down, but it will probably stop going up. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
thank you. Mr. Anzick, you have any?
No, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's any other questions, Mr. Anzick?
It's a lot more than he intended.
Thank you, Joe. Auditor's report, Ms. Wegman.
Good morning. I have my report on file and I can address any questions that there may be.
No questions? Thank you very much.
This is,
Oh, Mr.
yeah, sorry. This is maybe a question for the state's attorney as well. I believe that is there a mandatory transition audit required as the changeover in the elected office?
So there will be a transition audit that will have to be conducted or facilitated by the county board. If the treasurer chooses to have an internal auditor also do a transition audit, then that would be at his request.
And as I think I remember, that would be a board audit would be conducted by an outside auditor, not by your office. Is
That's
that
correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Wegman. Our state's attorney has an item, but I thought we'd leave that until after Z, okay? New business, item A. A resolution authorizing fiscal year 2022 budget adjustment for court services of $45,558.61.
Martin moves.
Leonard seconds.
Martin Leonard, discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford,
Yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. Item B, a resolution authorizing fiscal year 2023 budget adjustment for the state's attorney's office of $7,720.
Leonard moves.
Martin seconds.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Ford, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
Thank you. Item C, a resolution transferring funds from Southwest Impact Fees Fund number 554 to South Impact Fees Fund number 560, and transferring funds from Tri-Cities Impact Fees Fund number 555 to Central Impact Fees Fund number 559. No additional dollars, numbers.
Sanchez moves.
Motion to Sanchez,
Ford second.
Ford second, discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Yes.
Passes.
Item D, a resolution authorizing acceptance of fiscal year 23-24 Illinois Department of Human Services Greater Illinois Violence Prevention Council Coordinator Grant. That grants for $160,000.
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez moves.
Pepe
Leonard
seconds.
Leonard second, discussion. We
Just-
love grants.
Oh, just to comment, this is going to be a great asset to the city of Aurora and the related region. This will be, again, hiring an individual to steward this program to make sure that we put together an appropriate gun violence program for our youth. So this is an outstanding grant that I think will do nothing but good things for the southern part of our county.
Thank you. Any other discussion, Mr. Leonard?
Just one question. I was wondering, does the grant cover 100% of this individual's costs?
I believe it does, yes.
Thought it did too. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
Item E, a resolution authorizing extension of COVID-19 investigation and resident call center
Sanchez moves.
at $1,978,408. Sanchez move,
Ford second.
Ford second, discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
And item F, a resolution authorizing capital projects from the capital fund, $6,506,976.
Sanchez moves.
Leonard- Leonard seconds.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
Item G, a resolution authorizing the payment of invoices from Cordigan Clark and Associates for sewer line repairs, $48,606.25.
Leonard moves.
Leonard moves.
Ford second.
Ford second, discussion.
Shepro?
Mr. Shepro.
I seem to recall that over the past 2 years, there have been numerous occasions on which it has been stated that Cordigan and Clark wasn't to receive any more county work.
Yeah, that's Mr. Martin.
I can address that and have a suggestion, but there was there was an agreement that as to pending contracts, they would continue with them. And what I would like to see happen to the new administration committee is that we get that the committee get a report. So in fact, we know what the current status is of the permissible involvements.
Madam Chair,
Yes, and I wish Roger were here, so please, if I stand corrected,
Madam Chair, I'm online if you.
oh, Roger, could you please explain, isn't this just
Sure.
a delayed payment of work that was previously
Oh.
done?
So this was for the sanitary sewer under the government center. There was a problem that the Geneva Public Works and their sanitary department identified. This happened sometime back in I think it was October of 2021, and it was quoted at a price below $30,000. And the former executive director and team, they realized that it was a sanitary sewer issue, needed to get it fixed. They worked with Cordigan and Clark and a company, Innovative Underground, to do camera imaging and a proposal to line the sewer. The proposal was under $30,000, and I believe they received 3 or 4 quotes. The highest was somewhere around 150, and Innovative Underground was just under $30,000. So they went with the 3 proposals at under $30,000. When they finished all of the work and the invoice was received, it's $48,000 post work. So I was talking with the state's attorney's office and asked them if, this exceeded the $30,000, we should go get a board resolution to authorize the payment for it, which is what you have in front of you today. And it's primarily because the original quoted work within the financial policy would require board approval, because now it's over $30,000. And this includes the post-work analysis and imaging of the sewer line to make sure that the lining took effect and that everything is in good repair. I think that, looking at it from an emergency or kind of an urgent standpoint, they were trying to get the sewer line addressed, and they authorized the work. Now, after the fact, you get the invoices and they obviously exceed the $30,000, which would have required a board authorization. So we're seeking that before we pay the invoice.
I'm confused. This is Tepe here.
Yes.
There was an agreement to do this work for under $30,000, and now we're being invoiced $45,000.
So yes, the subsequent imaging of the sewer line and other things that needed to be done after the line was done they were being handled by some of the former maintenance team, and they authorized additional things to be done to make sure that the sewer line was repaired. It was not addressed through the county board, and those subsequent changes were not approved to go over $30,000. So at this point, in order to pay the invoice, we're just seeking to clean up the fact that there wasn't a board resolution for this additional work with the same vendors.
And I understand that you're merely explaining it.
Sure.
And I don't want any blame to come to you because you weren't involved at the time, but this seems to me to be really, again, out of line in relationship to an organization. So that just bothers me.
So just, for clarification, I mean, our process with the team in building management's been fairly clear that the only authorization for a change order to a statement of work comes from the executive director's approval and purchasing. This was approved and done, I think in an urgent fashion, but at the same time, someone should have probably caught the fact that they needed to have board authorization for the costs that exceeded $30,000. I understand that. I think that now the new team of people that we have fully understand that, and we're working on the change order process that everything has, approval. I think that, this project wasn't in the list of capital projects that we had identified, and the invoice came in and exceeded what the original proposal was. And the explanation that I received was that they had approved this additional camera imaging of the of the sewer lines and subsequent work outside of the original proposal. So at this point, the invoice, the work has been done by the vendors and the invoice is in our hands. So the question is, how do you get them paid? They did do the work at a price that was, a fraction of the highest bidder. So I think it was very competitive, but I don't think that the change order process was handled properly.
Tepe again, but are
Well,
you recommending that we pay this?
I believe that the contractors completed the work and the invoices were submitted in good faith, and I think that the county should pay their invoices.
Well,
That's what I was gonna say, so I don't have any further comment.
Alan, question?
Yes, Ms. Allen.
May I ask, are we paying for the work that was done? Or are we paying for the services that the architectural firm provided? Am I making that
Oh,
distinction
Yeah,
clear?
they're in the packet. The Innovative Underground invoice was, I think, total of the $44,000 some dollars. And I believe our architect and construction management was another 4,000, maybe 3 or 4,000 for the construction management. That would, I believe, go to Cordigan or whoever they subbed for the construction management. But
So most of the fees are going to the vendors who actually did the work.
yes, and the Innovative Underground, their invoice was in the packet, and I don't have it sitting in front of me, but I believe the total was about 44,000 for Innovative Underground.
$187.50.
No,
Thanks very much.
oh, that's the total. Okay. I'm sorry.
Any other questions? We have a motion in a second. We have roll call, please.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Reluctantly, yes.
Berman.
Thank you.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
Thank you. Item H. A resolution authorizing expenditure of funds for furniture, installation and related services, $250,000.
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez moves.
Ford seconds.
Ford second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Tepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
Thank you. Item I, a resolution authorizing expenditure of funds for technology solutions, products and services for Southern Computer Warehouse of $150,000.
Leonard moves.
Sanchez seconds.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Ford, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Tepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
And item J, a resolution authorizing expenditure of funds for technology solutions, products and services to telecom phone service for $150,000. Ford moves.
Leonard seconds.
Leonard seconds. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford,
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Sturgis.
Surges, I think I might need to abstain on this one.
Go ahead.
All right. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ford,
Yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis,
Surges abstain.
Pepe,
Tepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
Excuse me. Item K, a resolution approving fiscal year 23 operations and maintenance agreement with USGS stream and rainfall gauges, $64,160.
Leonard moves.
Leonard moves. What second discussion? Roll call, please.
Ford, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
Item L, a resolution authorizing renewal of City View license and maintenance with the Harris Corporation of $200,000.
Leonard moves.
Leonard moves,
Sanchez seconds.
Sanchez second, discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford,
Yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. Item M, a resolution authorizing a contract renewal for the Mill Creek SSA office space lease with Shodine Group LLC, $12,685.44.
Ford moves.
Leonard seconds.
Ford moves, Leonard second, discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. Item N, a resolution authorization of electric utility contract and retention of Vanguard Energy Services as our broker of record.
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez moves,
Ford second.
Ford second, discussion.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Leonard.
Just one question on that. With respect to the appropriation amount, there is none because they state that electricity has daily price fluctuations in the common market. And suppliers will not hold any quoted prices longer than 24-hour period. So we really don't know what that cost is going to be, but I don't think we have many options. So I think it's something that we need to move forward.
Any other discussion? We normally have to make a decision on that in 24 hours. so.
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
When the decision comes forward, they hunt me down to make sure that I sign it. I'm forewarned, we're preparing the document. Are you going to be in the office?
Any other
Mr.
discussion?
Mr. Chairman, this is Roger. One of the things I wanted to point out is that we have been working with the broker on the renewal, and this includes energy and environmental with Jody Walnick, myself, and the building management team. And we're making good progress. There's a lot of things to consider with the onboarding of the new solar field and some of the community solar opportunities. And we've been meeting to talk about how to take advantage of those types of savings and discounts with our providers. So we're looking forward to getting the contracts renewed, hopefully shortly after the county board meeting, and it will be the process you described.
Any other discussion? Roll
Thank
call,
you.
please.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
Thank you.
Bates,
I just want to say thanks.
thank you.
Energy, she likes that.
Roll call, please.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. Item O, a resolution authorizing the donation of decommissioned surplus vehicle to the Fox Valley Career Center. And the sheriff will handle that.
Surges moves.
Ford and Sturgis, discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. Item P, a resolution authorizing intergovernmental agreement with Blackberry Township and Ryder to the office to contract RFP 22-10 with Clean Harbors Environmental Services Incorporated for household hazardous waste curbside collection service, $80,000.
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez moves,
Leonard seconds.
Leonard seconds, discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. Item Q, a resolution authorizing intergovernmental agreement with the Village of West Dundee and eWorks Electronic Services Incorporated for operation of the West Dundee Recycle Center in the year 2023, $12,000.
Surges moves.
Burgess moves, Sanchez second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Tepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. Item R, a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between the Kane County Forest Preserve District and the County of Kane for hardware and software services. It's $20,000 a year after the initial $62,000 payment, and it's for a 10-year agreement.
Leonard
Starting.
moves.
Leonard moves,
Sanchez second.
Sanchez second, discussion.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr.
I just wanted to make a statement that I think what Roger came up with in handling this service that has been provided to the Forest Preserve for years and partitioning out the increases and the payments over 10 years has been very beneficial to the Forest Preserve, but also it's generating more revenue for the County of Kane. So I'm very happy with this agreement.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Tepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Sis,
Item S, a resolution authorizing intergovernmental agreement between the County of Kane, the Kane County Sheriff, and the Board of Education of Kaneland Community Unit School District number 302 for the provision of a school resource officer, a sheriff deputy, 40 hours a week during school, and on behalf of the pay of that deputy for $38.42 an hour.
Leonard moves.
Leonard moves,
Surges seconds.
George's second, discussion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
Tepe here.
Mr. Tepe,
I thought this had already been approved. Is this just paperwork?
pardon?
There are a couple of different school districts. This is Kaneland.
Okay. Thank you.
And if I may, I have a question.
Yes, Mr.
So it appears that we're paying half of the cost for this resource officer. Is that correct?
Yes.
This resolution. Why is that? I'm just curious. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but why isn't the school district fully supporting this?
So if I may, Sheriff Payne isn't here. This is traditionally what we have done because schools don't have to have school resource officers, but we believe that this makes it safer for kids overall. And so this is an agreement where we're a joint partnership in terms of doing this. So we're providing a cost and they're providing a cost.
Someone could say that we should provide it free because it is something in the county.
It is, but this helps to allow us to have more people to go to different schools because otherwise we already have deputies who are assigned to go to different places. This is a benefit to the county essentially. Plus, if we weren't there and something was happening, our officers, our deputies would be responding and going there. This creates a relationship where kids and teachers have someone to go to, someone that they trust, and it really reduces overall the issues that kids have in schools because you have the resource officer there.
In most cases, most municipalities are providing that.
Correct.
In this case, the county is. Mr. Shepro.
Yeah, but yeah,
Well, if I can just follow up, I don't mean to interrupt. Is this something that we should potentially next year, obviously approve this now, but take a look at it next year and how we fund this? Because as we've seen by our charts, many of our school districts accept more money than the Kane County is able to provide. And we are looking for efficiencies and new ways of doing things. I support these positions. There's absolutely no question. I'm a huge fan of them. But as far as the funding, perhaps we can take a look at, as we did with the Forest Preserve, a gradual remodeling of this so that we could pay less with the school district potentially paying more.
That's our Judicial and Safety Committee.
Sure, and I think that's a discussion to have with the sheriff as to the reason why he created this model. And
Absolutely.
outside of the fact that I know this has been consistently done, he would be in the best position to answer that.
Oh, thank you.
Mr.
Mr.
Shepherd.
Chair, Surges.
Mr. Shepherd first and then Mr. Surgeon.
I
Thank
think
you, sir.
that- Shepro, I think the reference to the prior approval was that there was a extended discussion at Judicial Public Safety about this same issue and some of the same points raised, but it was sent on. I think that was the committee flow.
And our brilliant treasurer just pointed out that the school only uses them for 9 months out of the year. During the summer, then they become deputies again on the streets, which would make sense why we pay a portion and they pay a portion. So thank you for that.
Mr. Surgeons.
Yeah, I just, you know what, my memory, I agree with Vern. My memory is I thought this was for Caneland. And I guess my concern is, and fully support it, but if this wasn't for Caneland and there's going to be a series of these coming, could we please get a listing of what we anticipate coming forward? Or, you know, hey, these are all the districts, these are all the schools, whatever. Here's the, you know, here's what we're planning to do. Here's what, rather than taking this, you know, in a piecemeal effort that kind of gets a little bit confusing.
I will send this to the sheriff so that way he can fully address this possibly at the next JPS.
And again, fully support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe we only have 1 or 2 districts. So it's not like we're going to be approving 8 different school districts on this. It's 1 or 2. I'm not sure if it's still 2 or not, but I fully support it and I think we should move it forward.
Hey, Bill, I think Myrna just jumped on a chat and said that she thinks there's only 2 as well.
Okay, good.
Mr. Martin,
I'm gonna say the same thing.
any other discussion?
I just question for the state's attorney.
Yes, Ms.
Yeah, I think I asked this at Judicial Public Safety. The sheriff has the authority to do this without
Yes.
or despite board of
Right.
weigh-in, does he not?
He does.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess I'm kind of back to then, why are we, why are we doing it in a governmental agreement?
Likes to make people know.
But
Make it legal?
we'll leave that as a rhetorical question.
It's probably something that the school wants versus what the sheriff can or cannot do, because if we suddenly pull out of this agreement, then that leaves the school in a bad position.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. Item T, a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with Kendall County for the housing of prisoners, $75 a day for 2 years, and then $78 a day after 2 years.
Martin moves.
Leonard seconds.
Martin moves, Leonard second, discussion. Mr. Shepro.
As a comment, I think at Judicial Public Safety, I asked and the sheriff's office responded that this resolution does not give the authority for a takeover of, you know, there'd been discussion about taking over all the Kendall County prisoners, and this does not refer to that possibility.
Madam Chair.
I have a comment. I feel like I'm being the fiscal hawk today, which is kind of fun.
Microphone.
It is, here we go. I said, I feel like I'm being the fiscal hawk today. One of the things that was brought to my attention as we we're looking at this rate, and I did speak with the sheriff, is that why this does pay for the food, et cetera, for the residents of the jail from Kendall County. And I think they're primarily the women at this point. It does not take care of potential hidden costs that are maybe moving forward, additional workman's comp, et cetera. So these are things that I do believe that, once again, Judicial Public Safety should review to make sure that all of these costs are fully analyzed and then folded in to this daily rate so that the county is truly made whole. If there are any additional workman's comp, especially with the Safety Act and the changes of who may be residents of our county jail and may not, there may be additional incidents that could potentially happen. So this will be, again, I'll make a note for perhaps judicial public safety that they can really review this. But, and then along with HR.
Thank you. Ms. Molina.
Thank you, Chair. Just to clarify, this is a governmental agreement that allows Kendall County to house our prisoners. If for some reason we have, say, relatives that are in our jail awaiting trial, we are able to transfer our inmates to Kendall County.
Oh. No, you're absolutely right. Thank you so much for that clarification, but my point still stands.
Yes, absolutely, Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Leonard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I think the other thing too that the sheriff had brought up was the fact that if a detainee had a relation that was a guard or whatever, we would want to move them to another facility also. So there are very few instances. It might be less than a handful a year or so. It's just something that we've agreed to pay if in fact we use that.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Ford, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. Item U, a resolution authorizing the delinquent tax liquidation program changes. $750 per parcel. And $450 of that goes to Meyer and Associates.
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez moves.
Ford seconds.
Ford second discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. And item B, a resolution approving county board personal expense voucher reimbursement request of $82.25.
Pepe will move that amount.
Happy moves.
Sanchez seconds.
Sanchez second discussion.
Mr. Chair. Sanchez.
Yes, Mr. Sanchez.
I just noticed there's no forms attached to it, so it doesn't specify who's requesting the reimbursement. I never have any issue with these. I just noticed there's the paperwork isn't attached.
Madam Chair is the requesting it. I don't know.
Dare you? Get your paperwork in. No, I'm just kidding. I just want to make sure that we don't have.
Doesn't
Prove
seem
it.
like anyone else travels, so.
Maybe I should not have made the motion.
Appreciate your support.
No books on Bitcoin.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ford, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Reluctantly, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. And item W, a similar resolution approving the county board personal expense voucher reimbursement request of $70.90.
Pepe moves.
Epley moves,
Sanchez seconds.
Sanchez second, discussion.
We don't know who submitted this one either.
It's our traveling chairman that's doing all it. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ford,
yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. Item X, an ordinance abating the taxes heretofore levied for the year 2022 to pay debt service of $7,670,000 in the general obligation alternate bonds called the Riverboat Revenue Alternate Revenue Source Series 2010 of the County of Kane, Illinois.
Leonard moves.
Leonard moves.
Ford seconds.
Ford second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. And item Z, a resolution approving October 2000,
We got Y.
item Y, excuse me. Ordinance abating the taxes heretofore levied for the year 2022 to pay the debt service of $9,045,000 general obligation alternate bond, the state income tax alternate revenue source, series 2021 of the county of Kane. Mr. Leonard moves,
Leonard moves.
Sanchez seconds.
Ford second, discussion. Roll call, please.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges, yes. Yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. And item Z, a resolution approving October 2022 claims paid $8,802,201.94.
Leonard moves.
Leonard move.
Ford second.
Ford second, discussion.
Mr. Chair, I want to compliment the staff on using the entire alphabet today.
Yes, thank you.
And not going over.
It
Today's
goes to
letter.
double A next. Any other discussion? Oh,
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. And our state's attorney has requested, they've done an RFP and selected a vendor for a discovery system, so.
Correct. And if we had done the resolution on time, we would have gone over the alphabet. So you're welcome, everyone. We had previously presented at JPS that we've been looking for a discovery system. As I explained then, a discovery system is just how we take the police reports, body cams, squad cams, photographs, written statements, recorded statements, whatever we have, and we put it into a computer system. The way that we have it now for both myself and the public defender's office is that all of this is done in essentially a shared location on our computers. It takes up a lot of space. We're constantly running out of this and it's not very efficient. In addition to that, however, the police department send it over to us. We then put it on our system, then we have to put it in another system to transfer that data to either the public defender's office or to a private attorney. This costs a lot of money and a lot of hours to do. In addition to that, and as you know, because the Pretrial Fairness Act is set to be upon us January 1st, the state's attorney's office now has an extra responsibility where we have to provide certain discovery prior to any detention hearing that we have, which means within a 24 to 48 hour turnaround from the time that a person is arrested to when the hearing is held, we are going to have to tender a lot of body camera if there's statements that we rely upon, 911 recordings if we rely upon that, or anything else that may be recorded, including any police reports that may be in our possession. There is no way for us to be in compliance with this in our current system. So with that being said, the state's attorney's office took the task, and again, that was by Anthony Ortiz within my office. I will take zero credit for the hard work that he did. 11 different places responded, and from that we picked one, which is Axon, or it's known as evidence.com. Both the Elgin Police Department and the Aurora Police Department have evidence.com, which means that we're going to have a similar system to the two biggest producers of our discovery. I then included Ms. Conant in this because it would be a discovery system that would be helpful for her. So I will go ahead and kind of turn this over to her so she could see the benefit for her office.
Good morning. As Ms. Mosser has said, this was instituted in Jamie's office, and we are greatly appreciative for all the hard work that they did. As she indicated, right now, the way that we receive discovery from them is it generally comes to an email that we have, and everything has to be downloaded from them. With this new system, we will get it and will not have to download it. It will go directly into our attorney manager system, which cuts back on the time and effort of our support staff. Additionally, sometimes we get documents through OneDrive, and as Ms. Mosser's staff can tell you also, we have a lot of problems with OneDrive. They send documents, we don't receive them. We spend a great deal of time trying to track down that information, talking to their staff, excuse me, about whether they sent it and how we can get it. And there is also a timeline on the OneDrive. So we only have I think it's 2 weeks that we can open that link and get it downloaded to our system. sometimes part of the problem with that is that, they have sent it, we have not received it, but they have actually sent it. And so that timeline is running, and we're doing a lot of catch up to try to find it and to get it downloaded within the time without having to ask them to resend. So this discovery system would be a huge benefit to both offices in the sense that I do believe that it would cut down on time and effort of staff, which they then could put their efforts into other areas.
The reason why Ms. Conant needs a system and can't just have access to our system is for privacy purposes. If she wants to change a document, she should be able to do that, or change a video, cut something down and keep it in her system. This is a cloud-based system that comes with the unlimited storage that we need. We've actually gotten them to agree to build in more users over time because, as we know, the offices grow because of the needs that we have. So with that being said, we presented at JPS. We received consensus from JPS to move to the next step. Because we were working on drafting this and finalizing numbers for the Public Defender's Office and for my office, we weren't able to get this on this. I'm just looking for consensus for us to place it just at exec, the actual resolution, so that we can hopefully receive votes to pass that on to county board.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are there any questions of our state's attorney?
I do.
Public
I
defender?
do. I think, obviously you need this, but my question is training. How fast are you going to be able to get this thing up and running by January 1st?
So Mr. Ortiz was able to build in free training from them for us as a part of our contract. The only training we're going to need between now and January 1st is just for the people who are implementing this for our detention hearings. And that's just going to be a handful of people because there's only going to be a few who are doing that. So we will be able to get everybody trained to be ready to go January 1st for this. The rest of the training will go as the year progresses. So we have it all worked out.
Very
And
good.
since we already use evidence.com, we're pretty savvy with it already. Or I mean, the support staff much more than the attorneys.
But I'm sorry, just, it's not in the cloud. This is evident. You already are currently using the software.
Yes, but only with a link. So when the police departments have it by their cloud system, they send us a link that gives us access to their cloud.
Aurora and Elgin.
Correct. And so now we'll have that same system to be able to give this, discovery to the public defender's office, to private attorneys. We can also send a link to a police department and they can drop the stuff in our cloud and then it's in there. We're not doing the uploading or downloading any longer. It's just everyone else kind of giving us access to what we need.
And all documents on One Step are going to be migrated up to the cloud with evidence.
.com, correct. Who I've heard their servers are right by our servers, weirdly enough, in West Chicago.
Our server can talk to your server. We're looking for consensus. Is there any?
Tepe question.
Mr. Tepe,
I'm assuming that Roger and IT have been involved in all of this discussion and they've given their blessing and
Yes.
they feel
So
that all of this can be integrated in with the rest of our systems.
correct. So we worked with Roger and his team. We also worked with Mr. Onzik in regards to the financial portion of it. So everyone has been fully involved throughout the process.
Okay.
Mr. Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know this will come at some cost. And talking to Roger, I'm aware of that. But can you just, and you kind of alluded to it, the cost savings that this will provide us, even just in terms of work hours and the frustration that your staff has to go through?
Correct. And I think Mr. Leonard is actually better at explaining this than I am.
Thank you, Ms. Moster. Yes, we did an analysis of this and we found out that because of the mandated services needed, the efficiencies in the office, that the savings per year will equate to a 2 to a 3 year payback. In other words, the cost of this system will be paid back fully in 2 to 3 years. And as anybody knows in business, when you can invest in something and get a payback of 3 years or less, it's a very good deal to do. So I'm fully in support and I give my approval and support of this. And hopefully we get consensus here to move it on.
Mr. Martin.
Well, I support the consensus and I just wanted to make a comment. This, to me, kind of raises a discussion that's similar to all of the stuff that we talked about during the pandemic. There were things that were forced upon the judicial system in the pandemic that we all said cost us a lot of money. I mean, we knew cost us a lot of money and difficulty, but we find out after it's done that it improved all of our life in the judicial system and in fact saves money and saves the public money and makes the whole process more accessible. And I think we're gonna, whatever happens to the current legislation and whatever changes are done, I think this kind of stuff is going to end up being beneficial. So there's a lot of smoke in the air yet to be resolved, but I'm supportive of this, and it'll be interesting to see in 5 years how the whole system has changed for the better, I think, because of some of the stuff that right now is extremely painful and difficult to deal with.
Any other discussion? I feel that we have consensus, if no one against it.
Yes.
So I think.
So this internet stuff is here to stay then, you're saying?
Yes.
Just housekeeping issue for our state's attorney. We need the resolution now.
I believe it was already done and submitted.
Good.
Yes, I have confirmation.
Wonderful. I'm sticking up for you, Savannah.
Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Sl-
request unanimous consent to place reports on file.
Very good. Anybody against that? Thank you very much. I have no comments. And no executive session. And a motion for adjournment. Moves. Ford second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. We're out of here.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.